Get a load of this guy. Hey SmugStick, everyone, welcome to the first part of my brand new series. What if Bardock was sent into the future? We've had stories in Dragon Ball about Bardock going back in time after being defeated by Frieza. But what if the opposite happened? What if the Death Ball reached planet Vegeta and Bardock was propelled towards the future and found by a mysterious entity with faulty memories? Bardock must now venture into this universe that has left him behind. When it comes to Bardock, I'm using both the Z anime special and the DBS version of Bardock. So he has been part of a squad, and he's not exactly the nicest in the universe. He's been cursed with having future sight, but he's also married to Gine, and with her help sent Kakarot away. You'll see what I mean once the story starts. The like goal for this video is 4,000, with the next part coming next week. But if you want to watch it early and support the channel, it's already up on Patreon. Let's begin with the story. And even your stupid destiny, Frieza. Bardock's eyes reflected the gigantic death ball, incinerating away everything that stood in its path. His thoughts raced back to his squad, Gine, Raditz, Kakarot. Boom! Frieza standing before his second-born. A flash of gold before he sees himself standing before the Emperor. His heart sank. Was that a vision or a last wish? Almost instinctively, Bardock opened his barrier around himself, as if his body was screaming out for one more chance, one more shot at fighting Frieza. His body began to tear itself apart under the immense pressure, his armor tearing away, but his body not giving in. The Death Ball began to turn around on itself, parting it with his energy. His aura sparkled into a golden one, his hair spiking on end. The Saiyans below all watched in awe, and a gasp, leaving their breaths with depth not even afforded to the world-destroying Death Ball itself. Some recognized it from their dreams, others from legends, from desires. This was the Super Saiyan. This was their savior. Frieza cocked an eyebrow. That power was meaningless. It was surprising, sure, stronger than anyone in his army. He would certainly be troublesome to any of them. But then again, Frieza wasn't just any of them. Everyone's scouter was going insane as Frieza lifted his other hand up and fired a blast into the Death Ball. Bardock continued to try and push back the Death Ball, but as the blast inched his way closer to it, he was finally consumed. Frieza couldn't help but laugh. Some terrified soldiers gasped, as from the scouters, the power level of the Super Saiyan disappeared completely. Bardock's Super Saiyan barrier scorching off what little remained of the Saiyan suddenly stopped. The pain lessened, and Bardock lost consciousness. It was getting cold, as the images of his family faded into obscurity. He had been displaced in time and space, or maybe his body was just miraculously preserved within the barrier. Perhaps it was an act beyond time and space, but Bardock's body remained as a piece of space debris, a memory of what used to be planet Vegeta. And while his son enjoyed adventures and tournaments and Demon King battles, Bardock's destiny too changed, as two dark figures discovered him, just what they were looking for: a Saiyan to help revive Majin Buu. Before we begin, let me preface this by saying that this Bardock is an amalgamation of the two Bardocks we have. So, while he did send Kakarot away with Gine's help, he's also a ruthless fighter with future sight. He has his squad, although he himself is maybe a little nicer, somewhere in between the two of them. Anyways, let's begin. Babidi and Dabura travel in a spaceship to planet Vegeta, only to find it destroyed. They knew Saiyans were strong warriors with often darkened hearts, wanting to recruit them into their cause. Unaware of the planet's destruction, disappointed, they get ready to leave before Dabura points something out: a Saiyan, nearly intact, blending in with the debris. To their surprise, he was still alive. Babidi brings in the warrior, nursing him back to health, although the Demon King has to punch through the barrier to actually reach him inside. Slowly, Bardock regains consciousness, but Babidi realizes there's something very strange about him. While in captivity, Babidi delves into Bardock's mind, trying to latch onto any memory or thought that could corrupt him into being his minion. But there was little Babidi could see, not even a name, as if the Saiyan had lost everything that made him who he really was. In the destruction of planet Vegeta, Bardock had lost all his memories. When Bardock wakes up fully in the presence of Babidi and Dabura, he instinctively attacks, screaming out to leave him alone, confused and even scared. Dabura is ready to kill the Saiyan as he attempts to fire a riot javelin at the Demon King. Though his power did increase significantly because of his near-death experience, Saiyans, he still leagues below Dabura, but his tenacity excites Babidi to truly make him his pawn. Dabura listens to his master, letting go of Bardock as Babidi floats up to meet Bardock's glance, with the Saiyan attacking again, only to be stopped by Babidi's magic, and his mind probed once more. But this time, Bardock succumbs to the power Babidi offered him, screaming out. Though his Saiyan nature allows Babidi to slowly carve his symbol onto Bardock's forehead, there was no memories for him to exploit, just his primal Saiyan instincts. And now, he was no more than a puppet for the wizard. However, the lack of memories also meant that Babidi didn't have safeguards to latch onto in case Bardock ever challenged him. The Demon King sees the Saiyan as weak and pathetic, so he is forced to quote-unquote train him. What he really does is beat him up over and over, and slowly Bardock started to get the hang of things. The Saiyan is caged like an animal. Every now and then it was clear that Bardock was trying to fight back against the magic, but Dabura could always knock him out. Babidi now sees Bardock as a great asset to their cause. Even so, their numbers aren't enough. The Majin team heads towards Planet Zune, looking for another warrior to call their own. There, a gang leader named Pui proclaimed himself to be the strongest on the planet. Everyone was terrified of him. He thought the Majins were kidding when they said they wanted his help. This world was all under his thumb. He wouldn't walk away for nothing. Pui tried to attack Babidi, but Bardock blocked the attack, as his slave could do all the dirty work for him. Bardock's way of fighting showed through, as he blasted at the ground, causing a wave of sand and smoke to cover Pui's vision. Bardock was gone from sight, only for him to calm down with a powerful hammer fist. The fight continued for a bit, with Pui only getting a few small hits in. Babidi was surprised. This was the first time Bardock fought anyone but Dabura. Clearly, he was a much more capable warrior than they expected from a low-class Saiyan. He'd seen a lot of action in his heyday, that's for sure. Babidi was forced to paralyze Bardock as he continued to beat on Pui. They didn't want to kill him, just recruit him. As Pui laid on the ground unconscious nearby, Babidi was finally able to delve into his mind and take control of his dark tendencies. The wizard also gathered several more inhabitants from planet Zune to serve as his lackeys and soldiers on the ship. With Pui and the Sunjin recruited, the team continued to look for fighters to corrupt. Meanwhile, Dabura tried to train Pui and Bardock. Pui was cocky and full of himself, thinking that he had already reached his strongest power. There's no one on Earth to take him on. Bardock was sure of himself, but his innate Saiyan instincts told him to fight on. Dabura is much stronger than he is, and it excites Bardock. Little by little, he got stronger and stronger, and there was some kind of bond between the Demon King and Bardock. Even if the Hellboy continued to beat on Bardock to try and trigger something, every time he got angry, that Super Saiyan transformation erupted. Now they needed to get him to control it. The team brought death and destruction anywhere they went. If a planet they came across didn't have a strong enough fighter, or someone who refused to be corrupted, Bardock and Pui could simply kill them. It felt natural for Bardock, as if he had done that thousands of times before. Eventually, they made their way to the Dark Planet, recruiting the terrifying beast known as Yakon. Many years have passed since he was found by Babidi, and even more ever since the destruction of planet Vegeta. Now it was time to set their plan into motion and head to Earth to revive Majin Buu. The birth of Majin Buu was near their grasp. The trip there had to be discreet and slow. Pui and the other Majins felt both afraid and above the Saiyan. He had to be isolated like a beast. Even if he was stronger than them, it didn't mean much when they at least kept some of their individuality. He didn't even have a name. Bardock hated the Sunjin who'd bring him food, and they weren't fond of him either. One day, while Dabura supervised training, he mocked and insulted the Saiyan, trying to get a rise out of him, saying how his whole planet is destroyed. If he really was it for the Saiyan race, then he is sorely disappointed. Even if Bardock didn't remember who he was, this struck a chord. He tried to attack Dabura with all his might. It was clear that he was getting stronger, but the demon pushed him back and asked Babidi to paralyze him. Clearly, this Saiyan dog needed some discipline. He signaled over to Pui and the others, asking them to prove just how powerful Bardock is. They began punching, kicking, blasting at Bardock as he couldn't do anything. Dabura just laughed and watched. Bardock kept on trying to get himself free, but every mention of Planet Vegeta slowly made him angrier and angrier. He especially hated Pui. So when he was the one to mention that Bardock was a Saiyan, Bardock was able to break himself free from the restraints, his aura exploding into that of a Super Saiyan. Being Majinized had already gotten him closer to becoming a Super Saiyan. This was just the trigger he needed. Immediately, he punched Pui away. Then he went after Dabura, actually striking him him across the face, but the Demon King responded by grabbing his face and throwing him to the ground, with Yakon absorbing the light he produced as a Super Saiyan. Bardock continued to try and fight, while the demon laughed. This is exactly what he wanted. Now Bardock's power is actually impressive. But that's enough of that. The Majins knocked out Bardock, and when he woke up, it was back to business as usual. In a few more months, they would make it to Earth. Bardock sat alone on his cell, wondering what this Majin Buu guy could be, just what a Saiyan was, and why it cost him to explode the way he did. Bardock cursed under his breath, swearing to kill Dabura one day. Eventually, on Earth, the day of the World Tournament arrives, but it's interrupted by two strange individuals, Shin and Kibito. They need the Z-Fighters' help to try and stop the birth of Buu. Goku is there for a single day after having sacrificed himself to stop Cell. Just like the original story, Vegeta and Goku easily defeat Pui Pui and Yakon, as Gohan gets ready to fight on the 3rd floor. Dabura wonders if he should be the one to go next, but Babidi thinks it'd be better if they have the Saiyans fight one of their own. Gohan is proud and ready to show off, but they can't believe their eyes as the doors slam open to reveal another Saiyan, his armor tattered and beat, wearing clothes similar to that of Dabura and Babidi. Bardock looks up, holding his head in pain as he locks eyes with Gohan. Shifting to look at Goku, then Vegeta, he feels a connection to them, but as soon as he senses something is up, Babidi strikes his spell again, deepening the grasp in his mind. He's just a pawn, he has to fight. The stage turns into a vision of a destroyed planet Vegeta. The only one who recognizes that there is the prince himself, who looks up at Goku, then back at Bardock. He didn't expect any other Saiyan to have survived, and low-class Saiyans did tend to look alike, but this was eerie. He really looked just like Kakarot. But there was no time for questions, as Bardock burst into Super Saiyan, and without a word, challenged Gohan. Gohan stands before the mind-controlled Saiyan. He staggers back, realizing just how much he looks like his father. Goku says that he doesn't see the resemblance, making Vegeta call him an idiot. Vegeta says that this is quite worrying. A surviving Saiyan? But why would Babidi choose a low-class Saiyan? Instantly, Bardock bursts forward, with Gohan trying to avoid attacks. He's able to keep away from the Saiyan. Vegeta comments on how Gohan is hesitating too much, with Goku yelling at him to go all out. Gohan bursts towards the Saiyan, only to be smashed in the stomach by a Super Saiyan punch. The others are in shock. Not only was there a new Saiyan, but he had achieved the legend as well. It wasn't just that, this wasn't a normal Super Saiyan, it was Super Saiyan Grade 3. This man has had some real training in this form. He didn't just get it by accident. It couldn't be a clone, could it? Vegeta is laser focused on the fight. There was something familiar about this man, beyond him just being a Saiyan, as if he knew him from before. Goku is worried about Gohan, who doesn't seem to take the fight too seriously. Gohan is stronger, but this Saiyan fought in ways he'd never seen before. Dirtier, more unpredictable. In fact, the issue of speed for Grade 3 was evolved upon by Bardock, as he slims down from Grade 3 back to Grade 1 in order to dodge a blast and respond with his own. As Gohan braced himself for impact, Bardock rushed behind him and kicked him straight into the incoming blast. Gohan was knocked into the wall, wiping blood from his lip as he smirked. He may look like his father, but he fights nothing like him. Gohan gathered his energy, transforming into Super Saiyan himself. Bardock was taken aback. He had no idea there were so many others with this power. Were they like him? Shin was perplexed. He knew Gohan was stronger than that. Why wasn't he using Super Saiyan 2? Goku chuckles, realizing that Gohan actually seems to be enjoying himself while fighting for once. Even so, the more Gohan fights with Bardock, the more obvious it is that he's hiding power. Despite Bardock's incredible fighting abilities, Gohan's innate power can overcome it. Gohan starts to ask questions. Who is he? Why is he working under Babidi? If he wishes to be amongst the other Saiyans, then they all live here. Bardock would growl or respond that he doesn't need a name to defeat him, but Gohan could see the pain beyond these words in Bardock's eyes. As they rushed to one another and punched the other in the face, Gohan whispered, "Is it that you won't tell me your name, or that you don't know it?" This angered Bardock, bursting his aura and kneeing him in the stomach. "What would you know? You're just a kid." "But he's a Saiyan, just like us." Bardock turned to look at Goku, their glances meeting. It felt like a lightning strike had hit the battlefield. The two quietly looked at each other. Bardock suddenly fell to his knees, a vision of things he'd seen before, a death ball, a planet, a kid that hair. Babidi and Dabura are getting desperate as they realize Gohan isn't going to win, but he also isn't trying to kill Bardock. Babidi tells Dabura to get out there. With a sinister grin, Dabura appears at the battlefield, interrupting the glare between Bardock and Goku. The Majin Saiyan growls at him. He didn't need any help, but Dabura ignored him and pushed him aside. Vegeta stepped up to fight since Goku just got a turn previously. Goku thinks that's completely unfair, while Shin was on the verge of ending it all. Bardock and Dabura instantly begin to work together. The training they had done clearly worked well off of each other. There was tension between them, but also a strange kind of trust. Bardock and Gohan clashed blast, but instead of keeping it up there, the blast exploded in the middle. It completely shrouds the vision of the fighters. Bardock and Dabura fade into the smoke, with Goku yelling at Gohan to sense for them, as from the smoke, wads of spit come flying out at incredible speed. Vegeta dodged through them, but Gohan is surprised by one that hits his leg. He tries to tear a piece of it off, but it's too late, and Gohan is turned into stone. Shin is able to catch the statue before it falls, as Dabura rushes out of the smoke to slash at Vegeta. The smoke is all dissipated by Goku angrily bursting into Super Saiyan 2, leaving the Majin Saiyan with eyes wide open. There was something beyond that golden form? A power above it? Goku went after Dabura, but Bardock's instincts told him to fight Goku, getting in the way. Before Bardock could attack, Goku snapped forward and punched him in the stomach, leaving him winded. As on impact, Bardock's mind flashes a blurry memory. You have to survive. Goku feels something too, a strange memory flashing by, but keeps that out of his mind. His son was hurt. Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta is able to deal with Dabura well enough, which surprises the Demon King. He thinks Vegeta could be a good Prince of Destruction for Babidi, but with the amount of fighting they've been doing already, the wizard doesn't need any more servants. Majin Buu will be revived soon. Goku and Vegeta had a great sync while fighting together, even while not having seen each other in 7 years. Their training was specifically built to defeat each other. It wasn't Vegeta's ideal, but fighting alongside Kakarot was better than not fighting at all. Suddenly, Dabura slashes across Goku's chest, and Bardock is punched into a wall by Vegeta. The entire ship begins to shake as nearly all of the Kili is collected. It's a matter of minutes before Buu is out. Shin says that they need to kill Dabura to get Gohan and the others back, otherwise they don't stand a chance against Buu. Goku and Vegeta realize that they need to get serious, back to back charging a Kamehameha in final flash. The pressure from their ki begins to break apart the ship as the ground beneath them sinks, and the vision of planet Vegeta disappears. With no options left and the Saiyans not listening, the Supreme Kai blasts a hole through the floor and descends down to confront Babidi. The wizard laughs, but Shin declares that he won't let him win, attacking. As Bardock and Dabura rush the Saiyans' way, they begin to charge a blast to clash, with Bardock preparing a riot javelin. But something strange begins to happen. Bardock's mind is filled with a vision of the man he is fighting, firing a powerful blast against another figure who looked very similar to himself. Was he watching his own demise? No, he wouldn't allow himself to die here. Goku's Kamehameha inches closer, and instead of blasting back, Bardock fires a ki ball at the ground to create a cloud of smoke. He isn't going to die here for the sake of the wizard. He may not know who he is, but his pride will not allow him to die. The more time he fought these Saiyans, the more he realized it, and the more his mind was freed from the seal. As Dabura disappeared as well, Goku and Vegeta tried to sense for their energy. Finally, they located. They couldn't find Bardock, but they found Dabura, as he suddenly appeared back from the smoke, stumbling outwards. The Saiyans blasted at him as from the side Bardock escaped. The Saiyan had kicked Dabura out of the smoke and used him as a shield. Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo were freed. As Goku jolts his head to look at Bardock, his energy was gone. He could control his ki, something very rare for the old Saiyans. He's going to go after him, but he hears Gohan call for his name, and Shin struggling. Goku turns to help them instead, cursing under his breath as he rushes to his friends. Bardock's mind keeps echoing with Babidi's words to come and help him over and over again, but he was done being his pawn. He was lost, alone, maybe even afraid, but he would find his own way and his own power. As he ran through the halls, some of Babidi's men tried to stop him, but he blasted them, ran through them, punched their heads into walls, leaving a trail of corpses in his wake. He destroyed the door and flew out of there. He was a man with no name, no path, just a desire to survive. Goten and Trunks, who just arrived and found Piccolo and Krillin, saw the Saiyan fly away, Goten thought it was his dad at first and flew up to stop him and ask, but Bardock turned to look at him with disdain. He didn't see anything but a face that reminded him of something, of the word Kakarot. It slipped through his lips. He didn't know what it meant, but it gave him a headache. Goten was about to ask what it meant, but Bardock flew away, as Krillin pulled Goten back and told him that he was definitely not Goku. But their friends needed help now. Piccolo, Krillin, Goten, and Trunks entered the ship. They descended down to watch Vegeta fire blast at Babidi, who created a shield just in time to recite a spell and teleport everyone to the desert. Boo was being released, and Babidi laughed out loud, but Vegeta was tired of him, appearing behind him and kicking him so hard on the back of the head that he exploded, but it was too late. Majin Buu was born. To their surprise, he acts just like a child. They don't want to kill him, but Shin insists. Vegeta wants to fight since that's what he came all this way for, so he mocks Majin Buu. In response, Buu pokes his eyes and punches him away. Goku, Gohan, and the others got ready for a fight, but they still felt bad. Buu really just seems to be having fun. Goku tells Shin that Earth will suffer. Is there anywhere they can go? Shin agrees to take them to the Kaioshin realm. They don't have trouble convincing Buu, since he is excited to fight strong guys. Vegeta is upset. So they go to the Kaioshin realm and have a great fight. It's real fun. The only thing that worries them is when Buu fires a candy beam. They manage to dodge, but a tree gets turned into chocolate. They're all terrified. While Goku and Vegeta distract Buu, Gohan charges a Kamehameha and lands the blow. It seemingly kills Buu, but he regenerates. Goku thinks this guy is amazing. Even Vegeta does. Shin himself admits that he doesn't seem to be the same guy from thousands of years ago. Or maybe it was really just Babidi and Bibidi's influence that made him so evil. As he watched the battles, all he could see was just how much fun they were all having together. He was worried about the Saiyans, about Buu, but at least for a few fights, everything was at peace. Things started to slow down as Goku and Vegeta keep fighting Buu. Gohan tells Shin that he thinks Buu is just a child and that Babidi was really the issue. It takes a minute, but Shin agrees. The fight could have gone on forever, but Goku's stomach growls. Vegeta says he's hungry too. Buu could go for food, so he turns a rock into chocolate. Goku tells him that there's better food down on Earth, so the Majin agrees to calm down. After having a wonderful meal together and reviving everyone affected by the Majins, Goten and Trunks think their dads are so cool and want to save the world just like them. Goku even starts teaching them the fusion dance as a way to get really strong really fast, though he warns them that getting stronger on their own is really important. Chi-Chi and Goku have a nice night together, until Goku and Vegeta disappear, but in reality, Goku and Vegeta have retreated to the Kaioshin realm for one final fight, alongside Majin Buu. It's an amazing spectacle, with Vegeta pushing Goku to the edge, forcing him to show off Super Saiyan 3. But Vegeta takes this as a challenge to improve, to get stronger, to surpass himself more and more. Super Saiyan 3 is now a goalpost. In this reality, Goku didn't hide it from Vegeta, so even if Vegeta's pride is a bit wounded, it was perfect for the climax of the battle. He specifically saved it for this final fight. In order to keep Shin and Buu happy, Goku agrees to stay at the Kaioshin realm so he can watch over Buu and take care of him while being dead. As Vegeta leaves for Earth, he promises Kakarot to fight him again one day. Goku nods and hopes to see his friends when they die. But in the back of his mind, he thinks of the Saiyan that escaped Babidi's spaceship. Where could he have ended up? Who was he? Earth had been at peace ever since he left. Maybe what he felt was right. He wasn't that bad of a guy after all. Just like Buu, he was being influenced by the evil wizard. He hoped that he wouldn't cause any trouble, and that he'd see him again. In reality, the tailed Saiyan retreated back to a mountain area. He's unsure of his path forward. He still yearns for battle, but right now he yearns for food. His only option is hunting whatever animal he came across. Fish, dinosaurs. At one point, he even saw a kid being attacked by a tiger. He stopped the tiger, saving the kid, but he ran off when he saw his scary face. Bardock wants to find out just who he is and what he's made of. Maybe finding those other Saiyans was the way to go, but they were clearly his enemy. He'd have to think about it. For now, he would just rest, leaning against the tree and looking up to the stars. At least this planet was more beautiful than others. But as it turned to night, the full moon shone. Bardock changed into a monstrous Ozaru, rampaging and stomping on anything and everything he saw. Civilians ran for safety, but a single man landed in from a nearby island. He floated over the forest, watching Bardock frantically attack. This was a new animal he'd never encountered before. It seemed vaguely familiar. Now, let's calm down. It was the local park ranger, Android 17. This cyborg rushed down to fight the monster, surprised to realize just how powerful it was. was. Good thing he arrived in time, or things could have ended up really badly. After a bit of flying around, 17 was able to knock the giant monkey down, picking him up and carrying him over to Monster Island. He'd have to keep an eye out for this one, otherwise all the other animals would die. He would check on him in the morning. But as Android 17 left, Bardock returned to normal size. He wouldn't wake up until the next day, but his dreams, or rather nightmares, were filled with a familiar face. He wasn't sure who it was, but it made him angry. Some kind of cackling alien emperor. That ominous vision suddenly changed. Not only to the man he saw at Babidi's ship, but to another, a young boy being protected by a Namekian. Namekian? Why did he know what that was? The following day, Bardock woke up in a place he'd never seen before, filled with the most wondrous animals he'd ever seen. He actually kinda liked it, and at least for now it was secluded enough for him to live. Now that he was out of the Majin's spell, he would have to forge his own path. And although Vegeta, Gohan, and the others weren't too worried about him, unless he caused some trouble, there were two young Saiyans who were a lot more intrigued by who he was: Goten and Trunks. But that's for next time on What If Bardock Was Sent to the Future. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that first part. I'm having a lot of fun writing this one, and for once in my life, I'm actually ahead on videos. I'm starting to do a lot more non-what if videos. So if you want to hear more of my opinions on Dragon Ball and see me on camera, be sure to check out my last video on why I believe the Dragon Ball Super manga is better than the anime. As always, a huge thank you to the supporters of the channel whose names you can see on screen right now, and until we meet again. See ya!